Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Wargaming 2022 here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I am, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we will be talking about constitutional carry states in 2023. Obviously, this has to do with the upcoming midterms in a week here, and what I think will happen post midterms when it comes to constitutional carry in America. So, obviously, for those that don't know, there are currently 24 constitutional carry states in America that have enacted constitutional carry, and it's in effect in the states right now. Ohio was 23. We should have been 22 and 22, but unfortunately, Brian Kemp decided to steal that from us down in Georgia with doing it immediately in that state. And then we have basically Indiana becoming the 24th one, and you had that Eli Dickin kid defend himself and a bunch of other people at the mall there in Indiana because of that. Alabama has officially already signed theirs into place. They will technically be the first one to go into effect in 2023 because of how Alabama's legislature works is what it is. You'll have Alabama technically be the first 2023, even though it was signed 2022 is what it was. But there's going to be other ones, I believe. And this is basically the 5 that I think we have a very good chance of flipping in 2023 and potentially getting to that 30 mark. So first and foremost on the list is Nebraska. Nebraska is one of these states that really should have constitutional carry in it already at this point. They should have had it this past General Assembly here. The problem is that you had so much stuff going on in that 90-day window they had there. They tried to get it through, and unfortunately, the current governor of that state refused to do a special session, mostly because of the fact it would have coalesced directly with football season this year if he had done so, and it would have been kind of like, people ain't going to be here for that is what it is. And so they basically, cucked out to fucking sports is what it was, dude, which is fucking retarded entirely, dude. And that's what I can't stand about these fucking people is like, oh no, we're going to fucking cuck out to college football. Like, fuck that, dude. No, you do your fucking job as a goddamn legislator and you get the fucking shit done already is what it is, bro. Seriously. It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I could see that easily happening with Nebraska in early 2023 then, would be them getting it going there. So 2 and 3 on this list are basically interchangeable, what I consider them to be interchangeable, which is Michigan and Pennsylvania. So both depend on governor switches right now. Obviously, you're going to have Pennsylvania get a brand new governor no matter what. It just depends if it's Doug Mastriano or if it's that fucking piece of shit Josh Shapiro, who is the current AG of that state and a total anti-gunner who should be in prison right now for the shit he's pulled when it comes to a whole bunch of federal crimes relating to P80 kits and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but for those interested in that whole thing, yeah, the guy committed a bunch of crimes. What it was, dude. He really shouldn't even be in the race anyway because he should be in Pennsylvania State Prison right now. So, anyway, if Doug Mastriano wins Pennsylvania, I know for a fact he's already mentioned something about signing in constitutional carry there, and I could easily see them doing other stuff too, like stand your ground and stuff as well. So, I think it depends on that, and I think it also depends if the if the Pennsylvania state legislature actually flips a little bit more red, because right now it's quite blue. However, that being said, when you look back at the constitutional carry that they had going through the legislature this year, there was a lot of blue dog Democrats that actually signed on to constitutional carry, dude. The only reason it didn't go into effect was because of that piece of shit Tom Wolf vetoing it, and they didn't have an override of the veto is what it is, because you need a 2/3 majority, and in Pennsylvania, they have 200 people in their General Assembly or something crazy like that. So you would have needed 150 votes or something crazy to actually get it there is what it is, dude. And it was impossible to have that number. I think they had 100 something is what it was. So unfortunately, that's why it didn't happen this year. Michigan, on the other hand, is another one of those kind of situations where they need to become a redder state right now. First of all, I believe that Tudor Dixon has a very good chance of beating Gretchen Whitmer for the governorship. The fact that Michigan is already a little bit red right now when it comes to, lean red in their General Assembly kind of thing, if they can pick up a few more seats in these midterm elections, I think it's very likely that they would have a majority enough to actually get it passed there. That being said, there is actually a decent amount of Democrats even there that are, on board with constitutional carry as well, dude. The problem is it goes back to who's the lobbying people for them is what it is, dude. And a lot of times it is mom's demand action types is what it is, which honestly shouldn't be allowed to lobby in this country at all, dude. Neither should Giffords, neither should any of the anti-gun leftists is what it is, dude, because they're directly infringing upon our constitutional rights while doing so, dude. Not to mention they're bribing state officials in every single state they're in is what it is. So yeah, I could easily see Michigan popping off though. When it comes to things, mostly because of the fact that, especially after everything that's happened in 2020, I think both Pennsylvania and Michigan have a good chance of that happening right now with constitutional carry. Fourth on the list is something I've talked about a little bit here and there, which is Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I believe Tony Evers is done as governor. Even Mandela Barnes realized that. That's why he ran for U.S. Senate and is going to fail there as well, is what it is, dude, because he was the current lieutenant governor of that state. So I believe, truthfully, you're going to see Michigan probably flip, or not Michigan, you're going to see Wisconsin possibly flip red there. The thing with their General Assembly is it's already red enough to where they basically said if Tony Evers wasn't governor, they could get constitutional carry passed there. And they even tried earlier this year to do it. So I could easily see them getting it done, especially if they're able to, increase the numbers of Republicans in their General Assembly and have a Republican governor as well. I think it's very highly likely that they're going to get the shit passed there. Now, are they going to be the first of the year after Alabama, obviously? Because I'm not even really counting Alabama as first in 2023 because they're, just going to enact is what it is. I'm talking about the first to get it both submitted and passed in 2023. And I think it could be a three-way race between Nebraska, either Michigan and Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin for that thing. Fifth and final on this list is Florida. So Florida is a weird state right now, dude, for several reasons. So you have DeSantis basically sort of flip-flopping on a bunch of different stuff is what it is, dude. He made a special session earlier this year, and he specifically mentioned constitutional carry in it for the special session along with a few other things. It never got through, though. There was a bunch of pro-gun legislation that they were trying to push through the legislator there during that special session. There's also some anti-gun legislation they're trying to push through as well there. Democrats were all bought and paid for by Bloomberg and company. And the thing is, none of it ever got through, dude. It all basically died on the floor, died in committees or whatever it was. And the problem with that is that when you have a red flag state, which is what Florida is right now, you really have to repeal the red flag shit, dude. Like, if DeSantis wants to seriously have a contention at the presidency at this point, which I think he's going to try to do in 2024, he has to repeal red flag laws in Florida, dude, period. He could do it by executive order, too, if he wanted to, man. And basically straight up say, be like, yeah, what we've seen here from this, it's all unconstitutional and has been since the beginning of this whole thing. My predecessor in the governorship had no legal authority to do this to begin with. Fuck him. And get it done that way is what it is, dude. And then after that, they go for constitutional carry is what it would be. The problem is, though, like I said, when you even have state senators sitting in their General Assembly that are Republicans that are total rhino sacks of shit, who literally take ballots, petitions from, I believe it was Florida Carry, and have their aides toss them into the trash, and those are supposed to be the people that are the heads of these committees that where these bills would actually be heard. Yeah, there's a big fucking problem right there, man. And those people need to be voted out of office entirely, dude. They need to be replaced by someone else is what it is. And they should have actually been removed from office based on that alone, honestly, at this point, with all much qualifications ever seen power in this country is what it is. So, yeah. But my thing is, looking back at what I'm, talking about here with between Nebraska, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Florida, I would like to see all of it happen, dude. Because the thing is, if we can get all these to pop and become constitutional carry states in 2023, you're up to 30 then. And for those that don't know, it takes 38 states to get a constitutional convention going on to where we can start ratifying the Constitution. Now, granted, would that ever happen? Most likely not. And I'll tell you why. Because even in our Founding Fathers Day, you had a convention of states before. And as soon as the shit was 38 in there, dude, I don't think it was actually quite that many at the time because that was before we actually had like the 50 states of America is what it was. It was back when we only had, a bunch of colonies and a few actual states is what it was. But yeah, when they were going to start ratifying stuff back then, you had the convention of states become a thing like pretty early on in like the 1800s or whatever it was. And everybody kind of freaked the fuck out and was like, yeah, we're not going to change anything. So I would love to see something happen though, dude. And the thing is with that, like it wouldn't even really need to be a ratification, what it would be, dude. It would just be if we can get to that 36 to 38 mark, honestly, you would pretty much have to have enough pressure at that point to say, hey, We have more than 2/3 of this country that are now constitutional carry states. Like, let's get it done now, dude. Make the entire country national reciprocity. Make the entire country a constitutional carry state is what it is, dude. Because that's what it should be anyway, dude. We should have the ability to go anywhere in this nation, in all 50 states right now, dude, and be able to legally carry a firearm. The fact that we don't is absolute bullshit entirely, man. But yeah, I could definitely see, like I said, I think the reason why I wrote what I wrote here actually is because I think Nebraska has the most ability to get it done right now. And I believe truthfully, had they had more time in their General Assembly this current year, they would have gotten it done this year in 2022. They would have been the final one of 2022. Michigan and Pennsylvania, they really do actually both of those, and Wisconsin, so those three all depend on governor changes right now, dude. Pennsylvania obviously is getting a new governor because of just term limits from Tom Wolf and stuff like that. It all depends if Doug Mastriano wins or not, though. And I think he has a good chance of winning, especially after watching the video of the douchebags at MSNBC trying to tie him to January 6th and stuff like that, dude. And the people were all like, okay, where exactly was he at in the fucking so-called capital and stuff like that, dude? And they called the fucking bluff is what it was, dude. And it's like, good on those voters, man. Like, they know they've seen through the mainstream media's bullshit at this point, dude. I think everybody has, honestly, at this point. Anybody with half a fucking brain sees what we have been played upon for at least the past couple of years now, dude. And most people have woken the fuck up to it. The ones that haven't have gone and doubled down and refused to actually see stuff and just bury their heads in the sand. And those are the people that are always going to vote Democrat until death, basically, and then even after that, for that matter. So the big thing is, though, I believe that truthfully, you have a very good chance of Mastriano winning in Pennsylvania there and making Pennsylvania one of the first constitutional carry states 2022 or 2023 is what it is. The thing with Wisconsin is when you look at Kenosha, when you look at the Rittenhouse trial, and when you look at the Waukesha Parade Massacre, Waukesha Parade Massacre, I think all three of those events together, being the Rittenhouse self-defense, the Rittenhouse, political persecution trial that he was rightfully acquitted thereof, and then what happened in Waukesha directly after that, is exactly why Tony Evers is done as governor. Because he is the shittiest fucking governor ever in that state, dude. He is a complete piece of garbage. He legitimately could have stopped everything from happening in 2020 had he just worked with President Trump at the time and taken the National Guardsmen that were offered to him. Because Trump offered somewhere between 500 and 1,000 National Guard to be sent to Wisconsin to quell the shit in Kenosha then, dude. And you would have never had to have the Rittenhouse self-defense then if they had fucking stopped everything in their damn tracks, dude. If he had taken the damn guardsmen, if he had reinstalled law and order in that fucking city, and you would have had BLM and Antifa arrested, dude. And it would have been as simple as that, honestly. But because he didn't do that, I think that's why people are super pissed, and they remember stuff like that, dude. And that's the thing. People always talk about, like, oh, yeah, so much of humanity has, like, the memory of a goldfish and stuff like that, dude. You don't realize how pissed some people are and how much they can hold on to anger, dude. I can tell you that right now, as someone who's held on to anger for years at people, dude. And I will continue to hold on to anger at other people for years to come over things that happened 6 months ago. So, anyway. Although, again, I am a, autistic fuck with weaponized autism, so there you go on that one, dude. But anyway. But yeah, I definitely see Wisconsin having some interesting stuff happen there. And the fact that they got it, I believe, through a committee, or at least pretty close to a committee is what it was this past go around. Again, they ran out of time there in their General Assembly. And then finally, like I said, with Florida, I think Florida is one of those ones where it's very hard to judge. It's very hard to judge just because of the sway of the state is what it is, dude. And I think, truthfully, without DeSantis on board with shit, I don't see it getting done. I don't see it getting done, especially with a bunch of state senators there being scumbags. Like, unless they're voted out and replaced with somebody that's better, dude, like, I just don't see it happening there. I think there's a chance that they get something. Maybe they finally get red flags repealed this year, or not this year, but this coming year. Do I see them getting constitutional carry before the end of 2023? I think it's a toss-up right now. Like I said, they have to get rid of red flag, dude. And I would actually say the same thing with Indiana come 2023 as well for their General Assembly, dude. They must repeal red flag laws in that state now that they're a constitutional carry state, because you cannot have both those things on the books right now, dude. You have one that's super pro-constitutional, being constitutional carry, and you have one that's completely unconstitutional, being red flag laws, dude. That do nothing except infringe on people's constitutional rights to keep and bear arms, as well as their freedoms of speech and their right to illegal search and seizure and everything else like that, dude. Due process, all of it across the board. So, anyway, the big thing is when you look at, the future of America after this 30, potentially, or at least 29 anyway, I think there's a few more that are going to happen. Do I think they're going to happen in 2023? Probably not. Do I think we could potentially get to at least a 35 come 2024? Maybe. And that's if we have a functioning country at that point. Because as I've said before, I think we're very, very close when it comes to that pendulum swing and snap to us just being a balkanized nation before it's all said and done. And I think, truthfully, at that point, it wouldn't really matter because all the states that wouldn't be constitutional carry and stuff like that, if they came on board with various, to various sides and stuff like that, they just become constitutional carry by default is what it will be. So, that being said, one of the ones I think could potentially be one in the coming years, depending on how their governor's race goes, would be Nevada. As far as I'm aware, Nevada's not a constitutional carry state right now. It hasn't been. I don't believe they have some weird gun laws on the books right now. I know they've gotten some anti-gun shit underneath the current governor, and I could easily see, them flipping and doing some stuff there. The big problem with Nevada entirely is, dude, outside of Las Vegas, there's really not much. It's just a giant desert state, more or less, dude. And I think that's the issue right now, is that there's people that are in these suburbs and stuff like that in that state that are just like, it's whatever, bro. And I think, unfortunately, when you look at Vegas and you look at the population density of Las Vegas and them being a giant voter block, and you wonder why it, tends to fall Democrat a lot of the times, that's really why, dude. Then again, that being said, when you also have the ability to have, a Vegas showgirl protect herself from some fucking maniac from Honduras instead of being stabbed to death on the fucking strip, that's a huge thing right now, dude. And I could see that particular case where that piece of shit did that here in the last couple months. I think it was actually within the last month, actually, is what it was. Where he stabbed that one showgirl to death with a blade out of his bag, is what it was. I could easily see that actually swaying a lot of people, dude, to wanting more safety and security and wanting to actually want to protect themselves versus a criminal element coming into our nation from across the border is what it would be then. So that could be an interesting one on the books right now, I think. I could see it being, this is the thing, I could see Nevada, somebody in Nevada, one of their people in the General Assembly or whatever, maybe a couple people in the General Assembly, basically submitting some kind of legislation there for constitutional carry. Do I see it getting through their General Assembly in the coming year? Most likely not. I think it would take a few years. It's just like Colorado, by the way. I mean, for those that don't know, dude, this past year, Colorado had the ability to get constitutional carry in their state. What happened there? Fucking worthless piece of shit fucking cunts and Moms Demand Action, local chapters there in Colorado, shut that shit down for Bloomberg pretty much day number one, dude. It never got out of committee. It never even really got a committee, honestly. It was basically like a pre-committee thing that was in, and they made sure to shut that shit down and fucking do all kinds of unconstitutional tyranny is what it was, dude, by being a bunch of douchebag lobbyists there in that state, which, again, shouldn't of itself be unconstitutional because you're literally fucking fighting against people's constitutional rights at this point. And the fact that they're not all in prison right now for that shit, especially when they are bribing state officials nationwide, is absolutely ridiculous, dude. And I say that legitimately, dude, because there has been video evidence here in Ohio of current Democrat state rep Allison Russo being bribed by Moms Demand Action chapters in Columbus during the hearings for constitutional carry in May of 2021. And yet she's still able to run for re-election now, dude, in this year. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous entirely. So, anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this whole thing. There's not really much more to talk about than that. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens here come the new year and see exactly who falls in line and where they fall in line. Like I said, we already know Alabama's going to enact on January 1st of next year. They will be the first one technically of 2023 to have it enacted, which will take us to a 25 state constitutional carry, aka half the country right now. Then it basically is who is 26? Who is 26? Who was the first of 2023 to both put the legislation into their General Assembly and get it passed all the way through the General Assembly into law in the new year. Other than that, that's pretty much where we're at, man. I'll be doing another grandstand here in a little bit as well because I'm still awake and I kind of want to talk about some stuff because I'm actually quite pissed off at local media right now. I don't really want to talk about it in this episode because this is a wargaming and not a grandstand. So I'll be back probably in like the next 20 minutes to a half hour or so with a grandstand and stuff like that. Discussing just retarded politics shit in the state of Ohio when it comes to shitty mainstream media is what it is, dude. Other than that, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see y'all in the next one.